ready, Jane?
I'm ready.
Okay.
응답하라 여친. Go to the into the 실.
Back to the count to the Jew. Hey. Woo! Jane, I was so excited to see you.
Me too.
I'm always excited
Yes.
to see you. It's just, we get in our little week, and then I look forward to our end of the week meetup, and our time together is precious.
Yes, it is. And more people are listening to the
Yes.
podcast, and we're getting feedback through
Yes.
DMs and comments, and that's what we love hearing. And the fact that people out there are listening and feeling seen and validated and want to ask us more.
Yeah, I went to an
about
event
life
last night.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, I listened to your podcast." I was like, "What?"
In the wild.
Yeah,
You met somebody in the wild.
Yeah,
Not
it
one of our
was-
friends.
Yeah. Not our friend.
Not my mom.
Not my friend. It was a new person. And I was so shocked.
Yeah.
Well, not shocked, but shocked.
Shocked. Surprised.
Yeah.
Pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised. That's what I was trying to search my brain for. Pleasantly surprised.
And
But
did she say anything? Did she say it was relatable or?
I asked her, I was so surprised. I was like, "Oh, how did you even start listening to it?" And get this, a friend from her LA told her about it.
Wow.
And then she started listening.
That's
I was
amazing.
that I thought was
We'll probably find out later from a friend or
that it's your friend.
Yeah, that it's like, oh, that was me. But
Is
it's
that what you were
okay.
thinking? Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Jane has her really good friends in LA. Anyways, you know what? We'll take what we can get.
Yes.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Yes. So we got another listener.
I love it.
Message.
I love it.
She actually had a question about friendship breakups again. So are we at the age where this is just happening now? It seems so commonplace.
Okay.
But anyways, she talks about, she asks about friendship breakups, especially when you have mutual friends and it's awkward. I mean, we get it. We've talked about it, and we might talk about it more in depth maybe at another time. But I think we've touched on it. It kind of all falls on under that same umbrella of kind of navigating that awkwardness and having to, make decisions, sometimes choosing sides.
Yeah.
quickly. And then one question that I thought was very compelling as a topic to talk about, it's about kids' sleepovers.
Oh, that is.
Yes. She asks, why is it important that it happens? I'm not okay with it, but how would you convince someone that it could be okay? I trust my kids. It's okay if the sleepover's at your own house. And then she says, but I don't trust other people, which is very
Rightfully
relatable.
so. Rightfully so. This is I never grew up with sleepovers except at my cousin's house.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I never had a sleepover outside of, and even with the cousin, it was very few. I don't think we were that close. So for me, it was not this and I came from Korea when I was 8. So in Korean culture, I mean, at least from up to the point of that, I was 8 years old. It wasn't a thing, really. I don't think, or maybe it was, but I just wasn't as connected with other kids that way. And then coming here, I don't think I was that aware that it was a thing because I came kind of a little later. I think it's more when you're younger, right? But what about you? Did you grow up with sleepovers yourself?
I did. I remember having some slumber parties.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I remember I remember when I became aware that this was a thing.
Yeah.
And it
When was
seemed
that?
like the ultimate treat. It was young elementary school,
And I
probably
think more for-
second, third grade,
Yeah.
around there.
I feel well, I'm sure boys, but for girls, it's sort of like a clique sort of thing.
Yeah,
There's
yeah. So I had lots of sleepovers with my closest friends.
Yeah.
Like 1 or 2 friends. It was always arranged by our moms.
Okay. So your mom, and were
Yeah.
all your,
And it was like a play date that spilled over into the next day.
but were they all Korean?
They were all Korean, and my wildest sleepover was not Korean.
The wildest.
Yes, because as a kid, I
How old
vividly remember this. And it was a large birthday party because I wasn't that close to this girl.
It was like the classroom was invited?
Yeah.
The girls
so it
in
was
the classroom?
lots of girls. It had to have been like first grade because up until first grade, I had a lot of non-Korean friends.
Ah, okay.
And then like, yeah, beyond that, I just kind of
I
had a lot of
sleepover?
Korean friends.
In first grade?
Okay, this is why it was wild.
Okay.
Even as young as I was aware that this is chaotic. There was like no order. And and we had a dance party. It was like a dance competition and all the girls got into groups of 3. I think the parents arranged it, or there were some grown-ups, not all of them were the parents of the birthday girl.
Can I just take you back to just what you said a second ago? First grade Jane was like, this was chaotic.
It was chaotic. It felt a little bit
there was
like,
no order. First grade Jane.
Yeah, I felt a little bit ungrounded.
You're so used to structure.
I'm so used to structure. Like the Korean girl sleepover is like the mom makes you dinner and then you eat dinner and then you watch something or you play, you do some crafts.
How many girls were at this event?
At least 10. It was a lot because it was the whole upstairs. I remember they had like an upstairs loft or like a play, like a den, like a game
So the main
room.
host was white.
Yes. And if that was not already implied, yes. So
and
we all
the
had
mom
sleeping
come
bags.
And say, I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
She for sure was a cool mom because I thought she was really hot for a mom.
Wow.
I did. Like she had
I just love this perspective of first grade Jane.
You know Kelly from Saved by the Bell? She had
Kelly
that
Kapowski.
Hair. Yeah, Kelly Kapowski hair.
You had Kelly Kapowski.
Yes, she was just like ultimate cool mom.
Wow.
And then most of us had Korean ajumma moms.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But this mom had a boyfriend. I think. Because we were spying on her.
Wow.
Because she was making out with her boyfriend on the couch downstairs.
This was wild.
It was wild.
Wow.
So we were just like,
you guys were snoop. Oh my God. Wow.
And then the next morning, chaos again because we're all in the kitchen eating breakfast.
Yeah.
And the birthday girl had a younger sister, like a toddler baby sister.
Oh, okay.
And in the chaos of people coming and going in the house, there's people picking up the kids and, the little sister got her finger jammed in the door.
Oh no.
And then it was like the end of the birthday party. Like the mom was like,
done.
I'm rushing to, get her finger checked out and like bye. And I remember thinking this was a wild party.
Wow.
That's when I think sleepover.
Like
and
you remember
party,
as a child?
Yes, I remember it as a child because I'm like that was a sleepover. What I had with my Korean friends was like we happened to sleep at night and then the next day go to school. You know what I'm saying? Like these are
but you're saying you as a little first grade Jane,
I'm telling you,
at that time thought
I have such a vivid memory of that evening. Because I felt out of place that whole night. I felt out of place. I was like, I'm not crazy enough to be here. Like as a grown up, you're like, I'm too sober for this. That's what I felt as a child.
What it sounds like. I'm too sober for this shit.
I'm too sober. They were
but
like,
you're in first grade.
I was in first grade.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I think that's where I'm like, my memory's a little
this
fuzzy.
Vision of you, like, just like you are literally just like a shrunken version of you going, this is too wild.
Yes.
This is too wild for me. No. So in that moment, because as a child, like, you kind of, because you're like, oh, I recognize that what I've been doing was just like super chill.
Yes.
This was like super. Did you think in your mind like I want to do this again, or was it never again?
Yeah, in my mind, I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm okay. Like, I don't need to have that.
That you're like, this was one and done.
Yes.
I've done it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, the mother Jane.
The mother.
That is now.
Yes.
Would you judge your mother for having sent... No, you thought that was okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Because nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
But it was a big group of girls, you know.
But a lot of these stories that you hear.
Yes. So, okay, I think maybe growing up Korean, I just wasn't aware of a lot of this. One, it wasn't really like a part of our culture. And sleepovers, mind you, my parents let me do them, but my dad always told me, you sleep at home.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
He always said that.
Yeah.
But I think as a kid, I wasn't really sure where that came from.
It's very cultural.
I think it's cultural,
for
like
girls.
But yes.
Like you 집에서 안 자고 어디 가? Like you don't sleep at home. Where do you go?
Yes.
Yeah. Remember? Since our show is centered around Reply 1988, remember it'd be like, 이 집에 왜 집에 안 왔어? Like, why isn't this girl home yet?
Okay, but the boys, so Reply 1988, it centers around 5 friends.
Yes.
Right? But 1 girl and 4 boys. But the boys routinely sleep over.
Exactly. And nobody asks.
Nobody asks.
It's always like, 이 집에 this girl.
Yes.
Where's she
But the girls must come home at night. So, yeah, I guess as a parent, maybe when I first became a parent and I heard these conversations about should you or should you not have your kid at a sleepover, in my mind, I didn't understand why.
You heard that as a kid?
No. As a grown up.
Okay.
As a grown up with friends who had kids who were like sleepover age, and when they would talk about I'm okay or I'm absolutely not okay.
And
with
did you have kids at this point?
I may or may not have. I might have had like babies. I was years
before having
that,
to come into this topic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I would just listen.
Yeah.
And I think at first I didn't immediately understand where the opposition would come from. But then when I learn stories that it's very common for grown-ups to take advantage of kids at a sleepover because kids are very vulnerable and separated from their parents, then one, it's like that moment of new fear unlocked.
Yes.
That's what happened to me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I must say, I'm so thankful.
Nothing happened.
I'm so thankful that nothing happened. And I'm so thankful that the pandemic kind of killed that for a while.
Yeah.
And it killed that. I think my kids were at that right window.
Yeah.
For them to be talking about
those kind
sleepovers,
of things. Yeah.
And then it kind of like it was out of the question
Yeah.
for a long time. Even play dates were out of the question for a
Right.
long time. Now I will say we travel a lot with other families. And in that case, we may be in a large cabin or a large Airbnb.
Yeah.
And in those situations, we will assess like what makes sense. Do we sleep as a family in
and
our
let
family
the kids
room,
have the room together?
or there might be a bunk bed, like a bunk room, right? And they all might be sleeping together. In those cases, we've often had like one parent monitor. You guys go to bed.
That's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
And make sure that there's actual,
Yeah.
rest and they're sleeping and,
So you don't have a black and white rule. No sleepovers.
No, so it hasn't come up where they've asked where
okay.
I've had to tell my kids yes or no. Bennett did go to, my son last summer did go to a sleepover with a bunch of boys. And for some reason, with boys and like the boys' mom supervising, like I felt very not anxious about that. And she was sending us updates throughout.
Yeah.
Throughout the night. Like I think she's like, they've finally gone to bed.
Yeah.
It was like around 10, 11 o'clock. And in the morning, update right away.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that there's definitely, I mean, of course, kids need equal protecting, but there definitely is a different fear with girls versus boys. And I hate that it is that way.
Yeah.
But like, oh my God, this is so crazy. I hadn't planned on talking about this, but I just watched the documentary To Kill a Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of it?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this is almost like we're crossing international. So this is in India.
Mm-hmm.
And, in Indian culture, there's a lot of rape cases because there's just almost like a disregard for girls and women. And this one girl was gang raped by 3 men, and she was only 13.
Oh, my gosh.
And this documentary follows the dad and, the family, because...
The family of the girl.
Yeah. And when something like this happens, when someone is raped, when a child, because it's so fucking common, which is just heartbreaking, and they're in like a small village, right? Mm-hmm. So the village kind of decides what should happen, and the village is like, just marry, and then we'll resolve it. But in what? I know, it's just, marry your rapist.
Okay, yeah,
then we can all move. The village can all calm down.
But you said it was a gang rape.
Yeah, but there were three boys, or not boys, 3 grown men. Now the crazy thing about this, it was riveting, and it was heartbreaking. So this dad was talking about his daughter, like it's his firstborn. He has multiple children, but this is my first child. Mm-hmm. I gave her everything. Like and when she came home and she told us what happened, my world fell apart. So this was the reason this became a documentary was it was unheard of for the family of the victim to stand by their child's side.
Yes.
So the village, so it follows the family trying to... So the 13-year-old daughter told her dad, I want justice. And the dad said, we will get you justice. And it follows this, the mom is on board, the dad is on board, but it was like the whole village was against them.
It's sad that that's so radical.
Yeah.
But it is surprising for us to hear that, because it's so much, there's so much shame associated with it, which is
culturally accepted in India. 90% of women have experienced rape in India, and it's and throughout the documentary they're talking about so what? It happened.
It's
Move
so
on.
Accepted.
Yeah. So should these boys pay for with their lives? It was so. The girl's life was so disregarded, and it was such a common thing to accept.
Yeah.
The fact that the whole village is looking at this family why are you guys doing this? Mm-hmm. And but what was beautiful was that you would think in a culture where this is so accepted, this father and mother was like, what happened to my daughter was not okay. Yeah. The fact that, because if you grew up in an environment where you were consistently told that's acceptable, but to rise, I found that so admirable because culture, like Korean culture. Yeah. The Korean culture is similar in ways that there's so much rape cases that never get justice because it's like, well, what was she wearing?
Right.
Our culture is very
always qualified. Yeah.
Yeah. She was out too late. So the reason I brought it up with what we were talking about, it triggered me because the dad, they were at a wedding, another family's, one of his extended family members' wedding. Yeah. So he had younger kids, so the family went and he thought his daughter would be safe. Yes. And she wanted to hang out with other cousins, so he said, go ahead. Stay. It's his family. Yeah. One of the rapists is his nephew. His nephew did this to his daughter.
I need to sit with that for...
Isn't that horrifying. And he's crying to the camera. He's like, it's my fault. Every time we're out somewhere, I always remind her, you know, you have to come back because you have to be careful. That one day I didn't.
He already had these boundaries and those conversations.
But
then this is
that one day.
One day they let their guard down.
It was the one day that I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Because we were at a family event.
Yeah. I would blame myself too.
Yeah.
And I just said when we travel with families, that's like supposedly a trusted environment. But you bring up a great point that
I didn't mean to bring it up
No. I understand that. But it brings up a great point that we should be having these conversations.
Yeah.
We should be.
The only reason I brought it up is because I watched it last night.
I want to watch that. Where did you stream it?
So good. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's so good.
So speaking of, that dad is admirable, but let's talk about a despicable dad. Did you hear about, and our listener mentioned this as well.
Really?
There's a case in Oregon where a dad has been arrested and charged because he drugged his 12-year-old daughter's friends while they were over for a sleepover.
Well, I didn't hear about that specific one, but I feel like those are the horror stories that exist.
Yes. And reading the details of this case, most of these details came from the accounts of the girls who were there, 12-year-old girls. And a text saved the girls.
Text?
She texted her parents saying, come, please pick me up now. I don't feel safe. Pick me up now.
Oh,
and
that's
so
amazing.
They came at 3 a.m. and picked the girl up and were able to communicate to the other parents, and they all picked their girls up early in the morning. But not before the dad had already given them, he made them smoothies, each of them smoothies. And the girl, I find it incredible that the girls were able to explain this in such detail. Because the affidavit talks about how it's the girls describing the dad's behavior. He was so involved.
Really? Where was the mom?
So involved. I don't know. Doesn't say.
Whoa.
So it seems like the dad and he has a daughter, and the daughter invited friends to sleep over. And he was very involved throughout this sleepover, checking in on them, whatever.
Wow.
And then
And they found that weird.
They found that weird.
The kids were like, why is he all in our business? Yeah. Because we're like, all right, you guys play.
It's like Amy Poehler, I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom. And she keeps inserting herself, right? But this is a dad. They're like, let us be.
See, in that scenario, you're like glad your kids got gender conditioned to thinking that's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Right. Nuance and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. But so he blends smoothies for them and is very adamant that they each drink from their own cups, from their own straws.
The fuck?
Okay. And the girls remembered this. And so it seemed like maybe not all of them were
drugged
mixed
equally?
with some. Yes. So then.
So he had his favorite? Ew.
So then he kept doing checks on the girls, on certain girls, to see if they had fallen asleep, like putting his hand over their nose. Yep.
My jaw.
And the girl who
hit
gives
the
most
fucking floor.
Yes, the girl who gives the most detailed account even goes so far as to say she heard him entering the bathroom that's adjacent to the room that they were sleeping in, and was just kind of hanging out there and kept entering their room.
Oh my God.
Yes. And at which point I think she goes into the bathroom and texts. Right.
So nothing happened?
Nothing happened.
Oh, thank God. But
nothing happened.
Something was going to happen.
Clearly, there was, he had an intent to take advantage of these young girls.
My God. I got like
which
hairs
that is
on
like
the
the
back
epitome
of
fear unlocked.
Yeah.
Unlocked. Like, it's the worst that you can imagine. And it's so insidious because so insidious on so many levels. Just the layers of trust that is broken.
Yeah.
And now this poor girl whose dad that was.
Yeah.
Right?
I know. She didn't do anything.
No.
She just wanted to, she was probably just excited to,
Yeah. So, I mean, these are very,
it's jarring.
Relevant questions and things to think about. I mean, I have, the kind of person I am, I also have anxiety about play dates.
Yeah.
And I have to be, and that's the thing is like, I don't readily invite kids over for play dates because I don't have the energy to be so involved and present. And I feel that you should be if you are having kids over. Just have an awareness of what's going on and but in my mind, if I have kids over, I can't just leave them be. I have to kind of have
I'm so bad. I'm
a
like,
bird's eye.
Leave them be.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's like, so again,
I know, but you're
depends
right.
on the situation. If they're coming over and they're going to be doing Minecraft or whatever.
You're totally right. And I feel bad because I think because I'm a mom of 2 boys, boys, and I need to be more alert, but they're just, and my boys, I never have to worry about them at a sleepover because they don't want to sleep over anywhere.
That's great.
They don't want to leave the house.
You made your home so comfortable that they don't want to.
Such homebodies are like, can they come here? And everybody comes over to. I'm the fun house.
Yeah.
But so they're just such homebodies. They don't want to leave. So I have I do have a trusted friend in the neighborhood. They have 1 boy. I have 2 boys, and we swap. It's almost like babysitting, but like I trust her with my life.
Yeah, that's a good system.
Yeah, but it's like that one trusted person. But also I think my kids are so sensitive. Like they're like, that's weird. They'll be the first to be like, I don't like this.
Yeah,
I mean, to the point that they're like, that blanket wasn't comfortable. I don't want to sleep there. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? So everything has to be perfect for them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's annoying, but I guess thank God because they're so particular.
I mean, I was that kid as a child. I mean, but I remember being dropped off at a library to work on my research project. Yeah. And there was a guy following me through the book stacks. Like, I kid you not. I know his face. I know what he was wearing. He was wearing this yellow shirt.
Whoa. And how old are you, Jane?
I was maybe 14. I was in 9th grade. And my dad had just dropped me off. And I went to the children's department because I said, what's safe in this library? Probably the children's department. And at that time, I had no cell phone.
Right.
I asked the librarian, can I please use the phone to call my dad?
Did you tell her what was going on? No.
I don't think I did. I think I was
you were too scared.
Yeah, I was too scared because I saw him
wanted to get that
3 times. And I saw him 3 times because I moved 3 times.
And I have to say, library is, it sucks that we have to say that, is a creepy place sometimes for kids.
And back then, what year was it? 1999? Like they just drop you off and you spend all day there.
I did that.
My dad was so annoyed that I called him and said, can you please pick me up? Because he dropped me off. Like, he's like, I'm going to see you at night, right? I'm going to get you at night.
He was reply 1988ing you, like, 도서관에 가서.
We didn't have libraries that you could walk to back then.
You study there all night.
Study there all night, right? And he was so annoyed. He's so annoyed. He thought I was, like, just trying to get out of it.
Yeah. Well, so did he get it once you, like...
I didn't tell him again until years later.
Really?
I said,
Why didn't you tell him?
Probably I forgot about it. But as a kid, I know. Because I knew that he wasn't going to believe me. But I'm like, I just need to be
And he
safe.
was too annoyed. So you just wanted him to cool off.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got picked up.
I knew that was annoying. But I was like, I'm sorry. But I know when I'm not safe.
Wow.
And
years later, you told him?
I think I did.
And then what did he say?
Oh, he never says sorry. He just probably chuckled. He just probably, 그랬나? 내가 그랬나? Yeah. Oh, he doesn't cut fruit.
Oh,
no.
Wow.
But I hope my kids are this way or grow up with a kind of sensibility. I don't want them to be paranoid, but paranoid is better than being totally unaware.
I mean, my kids are oblivious, but I know. I should worry.
They're still young. They're still young.
But they are like, there are, Gavin in particular, the older one, he's very like, I like this. I don't like these pants because they feel funny.
That is
because
Bennett.
of lining.
That's Bennett.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, they're just pants. What do you mean? Like, the lining of the pants are, the seams are touching me and I don't like it. And he can't get over it. He will talk about it to the point of like, I'm like, all right, just take those pants off. Let's burn them.
Yeah.
And so like, I feel like if something bothers him, he's not going to drop it. And I'm so thankful they're homebodies. Mm-hmm. Because I used to get annoyed. There's a neighbor kid that comes to my house like almost every day. I call him my Kimmy Gibbler. Because, like Full House. I have my own Kimmy Gibbler. He's always over. Oh my gosh. I'm like, come on in. Yeah. But now I'm like, I'm glad. My kids are not desiring to be be
Yeah. That's you're kind of like the best situation to be in.
Yeah.
Everything happens under your eyes.
Yeah. But if I had girls, I would not.
Yeah.
Answering, I don't know if the list or the listener.
She did not say girls or boys.
You know what? Stick to your guns, mama. Don't do the sleepover.
For sure.
Be the not cool parent. They'll understand years later.
Yes. And I think, I'm fully willing to, garner that hate for a few years in order to keep them safe.
Than sorry.
And if I'm a mom inviting kids to my house to have a sleepover, I will not judge parents asking me a million questions about the safety of my house.
Absolutely.
Who's going to be there?
Yeah.
Where are they going to be sleeping?
Yeah.
What is the schedule?
Yeah.
What's the expectation of, when we pick up? Do you have guns in the house?
Would you ever ask that? See, I should ask that because I live in the fucking woods.
I have asked that.
And have you ever gotten a yes?
I have, yeah. And then I ask questions like, how do you keep it?
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Whew. Yeah. I should be. I know.
You need to be asking that.
Actually, I already know my neighbors have a gun.
Yeah. I had friends where I told Ben, never letting my kids go there for a sleepover because I do not trust. Mm-mm.
Yeah, there's definitely people like, I'm like,
yeah.
And thankfully my kids don't ask. So there was a kid. I asked my kids, like who, they're like, oh, we want a play day. I'm like, okay, who do you want to invite? And then I said, oh, how about these kids? And they're like, no. They said no.
Yeah.
I was like, why not? And that parent had said, oh, my kids want to hang out with your kids. I was like, they want to hang out? It's like, no. That younger one, he's crazy. The last time he was here, he broke our toy. We don't want him back. I was like,
yeah. And then how do you navigate
when someone asks?
How do you navigate? How do you do the follow up with the other parent?
Oh, I just blame it on my kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's being a butt.
Okay.
Like, oh,
yeah, that's a good way to handle it.
and it's true.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he does, actually Gavin gets invited a lot. Oh my God. Did I tell you? I think I texted you about this. So a friend of mine said, oh, he really wants him to come over and hang out. I was like, okay, that's great. Like, and I knew they were going to be playing outside mostly. So I was excited because I just wanted to be outside more. Gavin's bus comes later, so then he came and I was like, hey, so-and-so wants you to come over to their house. And like, I thought he'd be excited.
Yeah.
And Gavin's like, Mom, I have a test tomorrow.
You told me about this.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like I felt like I was the kid and he was the parent. I was like, did you forget? I've been studying for this test all week, Mom.
He's so responsible.
I was like, oh my God.
Whose kid is he? No,
it's definitely not mine. I was like, I told him, that's your child.
Yeah.
Like, he schooled me.
That is
He's like, how could you forget? I've been talking about this test all week.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get 100 out of 100.
Uh-huh.
And I don't even put that
you
pressure
don't put that on him. Yeah.
This kid asked for a retake because he got 26 out of 29.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that's
is so funny. You're like, retake is for fails.
Yeah,
Devin.
like, and he goes, no, the teacher said that I was just within the range where I could retake it if I wanted to.
Wow.
And I was like, you really want
to? So
to?
then
Like,
did he get 29 out of 29?
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, then it's justified. It's justified. What if he did the retake and then he got 25 out of 29?
I don't know. I worry about him for different reasons. Like, he's like such a perfectionist.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know what? It's okay. It's all right. Life, life will dull those edges.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what it's doing to me, okay? Like
you are him.
He has to experience the real world.
Yeah.
And it's okay. He's still a child. He can,
And you know
what? He will learn to be more flexible.
It's better that way, I think. It's better that way than to have a wild child. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? God knew that I was crazy enough already.
Yeah.
He didn't need me to add more crazy to my life. So I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
But parents, do not trust your gut.
Trust your gut. It's
trust
there for
your
a
gut.
reason.
Yeah. And it's okay. You can live.
Just be uncool.
Yeah,
like,
you can live with being an uncool parent.
Yeah.
You can live with
set the boundaries.
Yeah. You couldn't live with if something happened. It would be horrifying.
Yeah.
And that's a far, less consequence to deal with than far heavy consequence to deal with than being an uncool parent.
Yes, yes. And thank you for the question, because it's kind of a reminder for me to, it's okay, Jane. Because a lot of times I think for me, I'm like, you got to ease up. You got to be more laid back.
Yeah.
You got to be more chill. But it's kind of reminding me like, oh, it's all right. Those instincts are there.
And for me, it's like, you got to sober up, Ellen. You got to pay the fuck attention. You gotta be alert. When you were talking about when there's a play date that parents should pay attention, I was like, I am checked out. I'm like, I need to, but it's a good reminder for me too. Like, I need to hear that.
Yeah.
Lessons are learned
kids,
every day.
Yeah. All right.